Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise this morning to ask question 4 of 2015, as it is listed under my name. And my question is to the Attorney General and the Minister for Justice. Could the Minister please elaborate how many Legal Aid Commission offices will be opened, what is the budget, and what type of services will be offered by these offices?
Thank you, the Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Sudhakar, for your question. Madam Speaker, the Legal Aid Commission offices were first opened in 1998. And to be frank, they languished for a while in the wilderness, because they initially opened an office in Suva, followed by 2 offices one in Lambasa and one in Lautoka. From then until 2008, no other offices were opened. So any Fijian that had a low income and wanted legal aid services had to go to those 3 centers. If they lived in Singatoka, Rakiraki, Talevu North, wherever it may have been, Sabu-Sabu, Tavyuni. In 2008, the Commission opened its office in Ba. Following that, Madam Speaker, in 2012, the Commission opened offices in Nandi, Rakiraki. And then last year, it was opened in Singatoka. And then only last week, the Commission opened offices in Nosori, Nasinu, and Navua. And we were quite privileged, Madam Speaker, to have all of these new Legal Aid Commission offices opened by the Honourable Prime Minister. It demonstrates a commitment of this government to ensuring that, in particular, low-income Fijians get access to legal aid. The Commission has already offices open, ready for opening in Sabu-Sabu, Tavua, and Korovo. And in the next few weeks, they'll be open. Apart from that, Madam Speaker, in Vitilevu and Vanuatu, the Commission is going to establish offices in Levuka, Tavyuni, Rotuma, and Kandavu. So we're not restricting ourselves to the 2 major islands, but we're taking our services across to all the other major islands also. So in total, the Commission will have 17 offices very soon. In the last few years, Madam Speaker, the budget allocation from government has increased from 800,000 in 2012 to $2.2 million in 2013, and that has been doubled now to $4.4 million, Madam Speaker. This obviously takes account of the fact we now have more offices. There has been some capital works in setting up those offices, but more so now, the Legal Aid Commission offices employs a staff of over 100, including lawyers and support staff. So obviously the operational costs have gone up. We expect the capital expenditure to go down once all the new offices are open, and then of course the operational expenses will go up. Madam Speaker, the reason why it has also been quite a success is that the prior depth of services that were available by the Commission has in fact been enhanced. So previously it was criminal cases, and it was not just merit-based, but whether the case would be successful or not. But now, the success is not looked at all. As long as you meet the means test, you fall within that, whether your case is merits or not, Legal Aid Commission will still give you that service. So it is, of course, enhanced its services. Apart from criminal services, Madam Speaker, in respect of criminal matters, it now gives services in family law. So, for example, family-related matters including divorce, maintenance, custody, access of children, matrimonial property issues, adoption, child abduction cases, nullity of marriages, domestic violence orders, residency, and of course now contact orders to residency and contact orders in relation to family law matters. We now have also expanded our services in the civil areas. Now these include the drafting of wills. It has been a big problem in Fiji. Many people in Fiji do not draft wills. So a lot of people die intestate, in other words, without a will. Legal Aid Commission now taking out probates and letters of administration, preparing deed polls, for change of name, etc., making applications to court for FNPF withdrawals in the absence of a valid nomination. That is also a problem. A lot of people die without nominating. Sometimes you have children that may languish because there's been no proper nomination made. Or indeed, the children need looking after because they're below the age of 18. And of course, generally providing legal services in civil matters. We hope to, Madam Speaker, also in the next year or so, expand the civil areas of service to the general public in respect of conveyancing, such as transfers and transmissions of property. Madam Speaker, what we have seen is that unfortunately this has been perhaps the ply of the profession by lawyers. Many lawyers tend to mystify the law. Legal Aid Commission wants to demystify the law. A lot of people think that buying a property is a big deal. It isn't really that big a deal. Many of the transactions that take place in Fiji are quite simple. So we have, as it has been done in New Zealand, where the Law Society in New Zealand has come up with standardized documentation regarding conveyancing matters. So now the Legal Aid Commission will actually put foot in that area to be able to assist those people with low-income areas to be able to get access to documentation which previously they thought they could only get from lawyers, and unfortunately at very exorbitant costs. So that in a nutshell, Madam Speaker, is the work of the Legal Aid Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary question.
Very soon there will be no more job for the lawyers, but that's okay. But the Prime Minister will be happy for that, because the Prime Minister thinks every lawyer is corrupt. A relative question. Yes, I agree, Madam Speaker, that the Legal Aid Commission has come a long way in these past years. And if you can please ask this question, looking relatively at the Director of Prosecution, not the prosecutors, the poor prosecutors, if you go to any of the courthouses, you'll see their offices tucked away somewhere close to the police department. If you go here at the government buildings, the prosecution office is tucked away at the police. You know, very, very poor indeed. And yet, these are the people we rely on to administer justice, to prosecute people, and they are not being looked after well. My question is, sit down here. Can you please, if could you have a measure also to have a look at facilities for the prosecutors, police prosecutors?
Honorable Attorney General.
That sounds more like a request than a question. Madam Speaker, just to highlight the point about all lawyers will be out of jobs. No, Madam Speaker. The Legal Aid Commission focuses on low-income families. There are many people who can pay vast amount of fees to the Honourable Member, and I'm sure he can still carry on with his law firm. Madam Speaker, the prosecution, Madam Speaker, unrelated to the substantive question, but will most definitely be looking at improving the entire criminal justice system. As has been said in the budget, we have allocated more funding, for example, to the judiciary. The DPP is also sharpening his pencil. The police have also been given an increased budget overall. It is also, we'll be working with all these different agencies to ensure that the criminal justice system does work well, and of course that requires that we improve the services and the environment in which prosecutors, defense counsel, witnesses that you see hanging out in the corridors. We're trying to minimize all of that. And also where even people in remand are kept a lot better. As you may hear that we've increased funding for Lautoka, where the remand services are being increased. So overall, there is a government has the political and the administrative will to be able to improve the criminal justice system, which of course includes the prosecutors. Thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary question.
Can the Honourable Minister please confirm or deny that the Legal Aid Commission offices are funded entirely by the state or from the interest earned from the Solicitor's Trust account via the Legal Aid Commission?
Honourable Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, the Honourable Member's questions always sounds like a conspiracy. Madam Speaker, as I have highlighted, the government this year, as I've stated, the budgetary allocation last year, this year the budgetary allocation is $4.4 million. That's from government. The Legal Aid Commission also has access to funds, a certain percentage of it that's gained from the interest that's generated from the trust fund accounts that lawyers keep. So they have access to that funding too. But if the question is about $4.4 million, that's entirely from government. I hope I've answered the question.
Thank you. In my opinion, the original question has been adequately answered, and I will not allow any further question on that.